Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Redseapodcast. I'm Dennis, as always, coming to you from a very rainy late night from Greece. And today is gonna be a more relaxed, quick one. Of course, can't say anyone is the happiest from what we just saw basketball wise, but I am here to try and take your minds off of that lost final, which we will hopefully, if all goes well, talk about live tomorrow. But for today, I am here to focus on the demolition, as I said, that we saw in football earlier, that sent us right back to the top of the Super League. Of course, no real advantage gained as all of AEK, Panathinaikos, and PAOK did win their games. AEK winning 2-1, Panathinaikos also winning 2-1, and PAOK demolishing Lamia winning 7-0. The more notable thing before I get into our situation is the loss of Aris. For those of you that didn't see, Aris did manage to lose to Levadiakos 4-1. I just, for those of you that are listening now or after, of course, I just put the link for you all to join me if you wish in the chat. Uh, if you take that link, copy it, and put it on Google, you can join me live, hop on, and say your opinions, questions, and comments on absolutely everything. I do hope my audio and camera are okay because with the insane weather that chose to occur today, everything has been very, very messy. So do keep me updated if the quality just completely messes up on either one of the aforementioned things. Regarding the poll that has been in the chat, the last two shows, um, the poll for your MVP is in the chat for you to vote. I put my best two or three choices most times, but there is also another option for you all to comment your own MVP. Aside that, you can go to the description, like and subscribe if you like what you see. We have a huge backlog of episodes. Of course, it's not just me on this show. If you're new, it is me and Gav. Gav, who is a very busy man with work, uh, but he gives some major uptake and quality and insight whenever he can be on this show. Of course, there is a time zone issue as well, so that's another thing. There is a backlog of some vlogs, most notably, and the one that's the most viewed video on this channel and has been and will be for a long time, I'm pretty sure, is the vlog from the stadium from the semi-final last year against Aston Villa. There is a vlog from the final. There is a vlog against Ike also. Also, of course, some interviews with some amazing people. Two episodes of my interview quote unquote series are up. One with the Football Stadium Show, the award nominated Football Stadium Show. Do go check out his stuff. And one with good friend of the show, Tito from Viola Nation. Do go check them out as well. Aside that, down in the description are the links to all the socials of this show, bar TikTok, which I am more or less figuring out a plan to have more active, which I will implement as soon as I can. I think that's about it with uh, shameless promos. Let's get into the game. As we all saw, as the title said, it was Panserraikos Olympiacos 4-0 with a brace in 7 minutes from Ayub El Gabi with a goal to open the second half from Chiquinho, and finally, a goal by Zelson Martins. Um, just to run through the goals as quickly as possible. Of course, Ayub El Gabi did begin by missing a penalty. That is his fourth miss, if I'm not mistaken. And there have been talks per se about if someone else should take the penalties. There have been talks about, for example, Rodinei taking the penalties again. And while I sort of, well, not agree, because I'm not going to sit here and say that the top scorer of the Conference League last year and the league, and the current top scorer of the UEFA Europa League, and the second top scorer, no, the top scorer of the league again, he did get that back today. Uh, needs to be taken off penalties because he's missed 4. Uh, but he needs that confidence booster there as well as he has in open play goals, of course, as he showed with picking up the rebound from the save and scoring very comfortably. And for all the crybaby Panathinaikos fans that have said that there is a rule violation with a player entering, you clearly either don't know the rules clearly or you can see clearly. There is an either or there as well. Following up 7 minutes after all that chaos happened, an incredible, absolutely indescribable uh, cross comes in from Rodinei, who I should have put on the poll as well, but I genuinely forgot. uh, and that cross is picked up by Palma, who stands very unlucky. I'll get more into how Palma performed, at least in my opinion, in just a bit, but Palma stands very unlucky in hitting the crossbar. The keeper is nowhere, and the ever present, as I said, Ayub El Gabi is there to convert with a header into an open net. Then we follow through with Chiquinho's goal as soon as the second half opens up. Credit needs to go to Ayub again, with Ayub El Gabi gaining more or less self-sacrificing header to send Zelson through down the right wing, and Zelson himself then finds Chiquinho, who converts a very solid goal and a very well built-up goal to make it 3-0, and then we knew the game was more or less over. And then at the 75th, we have a run from Roman Yaramchuk, who drags the defender and keeper onto him, more or less, then finds Zelson Martins, who once again converts into an open net. Credits go first of all, before I touch on the starting 11, credits go to Zelson, who after a while, as we've talked about on this so many times, after quite a lengthy form drop, I think it's safe to say he had his best game in a long time. Of course, topping it off with a goal and an assist, but he had, I think, the best way to characterize the game is that he had a very meaningful game. Of course, directly contributing in two, but being there for most of the attacks, most of the build up, and being a major reason for today's comfortable win. I think it's easy to say that today was a very, very comfortable win. Regarding Chiquinho and his injury, uh, as far as I know, we are waiting on an MRI and we'll know how bad, hopefully not too bad, fingers crossed, but we'll know how bad the injury is by Tuesday. I'm pretty sure it's by Tuesday night, but we'll know soon enough. The good thing is even if we don't have Chiquinho available for the next game or two, have Orta, who got minutes today and once again showed his absolute, undeniable quality that we all know and absolutely love. Let me make sure I'm not completely mistaken on our next game. I am not. Our next game is on the 23rd at 8:30, and our next game is against PAOK in the Karaiskaki. Yeah, thank God we have um, a good replacement just in case Chiquinho misses the game. But Chiquinho is, of course, an undeniably irreplaceable part of this team, and I hope that worst case scenario he's just out for the PAOK game. Now, to more or less get into the starting 11, Jolagis had one of the calmest days in the office per se. He had to make one save from a long shot, but even that didn't really trouble him. It was at least he made it look like a very easy save, only in the way Jolagis knows how to. Rodinei, by far one of the best of the game, not my MVP, but he is up there with Zelson, Ayub, and Chiquinho. Biancon, uh, Biancon and Carmo again didn't really need to do much, but they showed that they can work well together. And dare I say, finally, Carmo performs to his standard at a game that's not of that much importance quality wise, because Carmo was a bit lackluster in more of the lower table to mid table league games up until now, but finally, with Biancon by his side, they both perform very, very well defensively. Regarding Francisco Ortega, for me was very impressive, but the thing that I personally wanna point out regarding Francisco Ortega, I hope my camera and my sound is not freaking out because on the checkup I have everything went wild for a second. But regarding Francisco Ortega, the thing that I do mainly want to point out is that his partnership with the not debuting Luis Palma, but the first time starter Luis Palma for Olympiacos was better than anyone could have really ever imagined. Uh, their chemistry seemed top notch even from the very, very beginning. And perhaps that's a very positive side for James to move forward because both of these men, Ortega already a very proven starter, but Palma may prove to very well be our starting winger. if he keeps up these amazing, amazing performances. Moving on to the midfield duo, uh, perhaps this was the more not lackluster because, in my opinion at least, I can't stand here and say that anyone was really lackluster, but Danny Garcia and Santi Escher had more quiet games than anyone else really did, especially Danny Garcia was a bit more on the mediocre side, but that doesn't take away that both performed up to the level that they needed to for us to get everything done like we did, and credit needs to more or less be given where credit is due. Now, to the three that impressed me and most of us very, very much, starting with Zelson. I think the goal just edges it out for me in the MVP discussion for the day, and I think I will give the MVP to Zelson Martins. I hope to God I can finally get back to making the player rating graphs. And if I can't, I will at least put out an MVP and your guys' MVP. And yeah, Zelson, as I talked about a bit earlier, had a very meaningful, impactful game that did get topped off with the two goal contributions. Moving forward to Chiquinho. Chiquinho, who again had been very up and down in form. Chiquinho was playing out of position the entire season and still playing up to amazing standards, up to Olympiacos standards, I think it's safe to say. Uh, just incredible, incredible. One of his best games in a while, along with Zelson topping it off with a goal, and just hoping and praying that he's not out for a long time. Moving on to Luis Palma. Luis Palma has gotten a lot of stick ever since he came in. Whether that's because of his not lackluster, because of his very rough ending at his former team, of course, that being Celtic. Whether that was because different names were put out by journalists here and people were stuck on those names and expected something more game changing to come in at the wing. I personally liked that Luis Palma came in. I said that, yeah, we needed something more as well as Luis Palma, but I was very excited because this player has quality that can cover a lot of gaps that this team has. And he once again showed a bit of that today, getting most of the game. The main thing that everyone can, of course, point out was his crossing. He came out at the 63rd for Adonis Papacanelos, which we will get into in just a bit. The main thing to point out is his crossing. His crossing and his not courage, his ability to just take on players, to take on responsibility, to make split second decisions, the thing that we haven't seen from our wingers for a while now. As I said, his chemistry with Ortega for me was amazing, especially for a first start together. And as I said on Twitter, it's only gonna be up from here. Just the crossing is gonna be immaculate until the end because it already is something we haven't seen in a while. He's just gonna find Ayub El Kabi like a proper dead shot. It's just gonna be alley-oop assist, παρεβάλλει, όπως λέμε και στα ελληνικά. The dribbling is just gonna get better and better as he grows in confidence, and his chemistry with the rest of the team is just gonna keep improving. So I am more than excited about what's on the way with Luis Palma for the next couple of months. Moving on to Ayub El Kabi. Ayub El Kabi, of course, scoring a 7-minute brace, which is more than impressive. And I think we're taking it a bit for granted because it is Ayub El Kabi and we know the quality of this player. I did talk about the penalty thing a bit. I do stand by the opinion the more I think about it, especially that Ayub should stay on penalties because the second he gets back to scoring one or two consistently, he's going to be banging them in like the rest of his goals. He's back up to top scorer of the league as well. And I think with him regaining that top spot, he's once again going to run away with it. And Ayub is just an absolute legend. There isn't really much more to say to that. He's proven so many people wrong that said that without Fortunis and Podence, he wouldn't score half the goals he did last season, and he is gonna break that record, as it seems, especially if we go far in the Europa League. And it's just so incredible and such a blessing to live through the the full stint of such a legendary player. The first two subs, well, not the first two subs, the first four subs, because four people came in as soon as the game was 3-0 and more or less done. It was Andre Orta for Chiquinho, which was a necessary sub with Chiquinho unable to continue. It was Roman Yaremchuk for the brace scorer Ayub El Kabi. It was Bruno Onyemaechi for Francisco Ortega making his debut. And it was Adonis Papacanelos who got so many needed minutes today for the very impressive Luis Palma. Now, one by one, Orta's name was called last game where he didn't play, and Orta's name was called when the starting 11 came out for this game. Of course, not much needed to be done from any man that came in because the game was already more than over. But Porta, once again, just gives you that feeling of peace, of comfortability that you have a player of quality that can't really be comprehended by most Greek fans. A player of absolute talent and hard work, and a player that loves this team and is loved by the team. So I'm sure that there will be no problems created with Andre Horta's game time, and I'm sure that he'll keep showing us the Horta we all know and love, as I said before. Uh, Now, the very weird case of Roman Yaremchuk. I don't think that, at least in the latter couple of years, we've had the player that's been so on and off, per se. A player that's shown nothing in one game and that's shown incredible ability in the next. I'm not saying that the assist was anything insane because that's not what, of course, the assist in a game that's already done will build confidence. Goal contributions build confidence. And of course, an assist is way better comparable to last game where he missed, not only missed a sitter, but took a winner right out of LKB is fit. Uh, it's a weird one. It really is. I still think that it wasn't necessarily the correct choice uh, to keep him and keep Betancourt loaned to Panserraikos. But as with every player, for those of you who do know me, as with every player, I will give credit when even the slightest positive is showing. We need Yaremchuk to score because that's what we brought him in for. And even if all hope but 0.0001% is lost for this player to do well at Olympiacos, I still hope that somehow, some way, because he will be here until the summer, that something happens that changes his confidence and he starts getting goal contribution game in and game out. Even if not game in and game out, he starts getting a couple of contributions, a couple of games at a time. Just anything to help Ayub. Anything to help Ayub. Because Jesus, this man has taken a massive load of carrying this team. Jesus, this man is at risk of a major injury. Christ. Uh, Next was Bruno. Bruno debuting for Olympiacos, of course. What better case to debut uh, other than a game that's already done and that won't really give you that much pressure. Not really able to do much. His only ground duel was 12 out of 17 for passes, uh, 1 out of 2 for crosses, and 2 out of 3 for long balls. Not a bad debut, and I would love for Bruno to take uh, a lot of pure exhaustion off Ortega as well. And as the time passes, for example, start against Offi, which is the lower risk game from the games that are left because, of course, it's Pauk, and perhaps start against Ike in the cup, for example, because rotation will still happen in the cup, in my opinion, and just help as he's expected to help. Of course, we've talked about what Bruno can give to a team many times, and I am still very excited because it may not have been the most impactful of debuts because it didn't need to be. We just needed to see the game out with the subs that got made, but I think we still saw things as with everyone that can get us excited for what's gonna come. Now, the absolute applause that I do want to give, and that's to Adonis Papacanelos. Adonis Papacanelos, who was one of the stars of our youth league win against Girona a couple of days ago. Of course, the under 19 starful team, a team full of generational talent, uh, is gearing up to face Sturm Graz in the round of 16 of the Youth League. And I think it's safe to say that as time goes on, we see that Mendy likes Papacanelos, of course. Mendy and Siledopoulos are going to give chances to all of these boys, and I'd love nothing more than seeing Papacanelos and all the rest of the boys like Nevmanidis get their spot in the squad. It doesn't have to be a starting spot. We don't have to hold everyone to the standards of course, Mozakitis, who is our starting midfielder now, and Kostulas, who is just absolutely incredible in every game, whether he starts or whether he comes from the bench. Uh, Even if Papacanelos is that super sub for this season and the next one going forward, he'll slowly just get inducted into the starting 11 as well. And a lot of these boys will. Even looking at it, I don't think our brains can truly grasp how much quality this generation coming up has. And Papacanelos once again had a very, very good game. And the more minutes he gets with the first team, the better he will play. And I hope he slowly but surely gets called up to the first squad and plays more and more. And of course, from summer onwards, I'm sure we'll see all of these boys just lurk around the first team as they truly deserve, after all. Now, the last sub, of course, was Haralabos Kostoulas coming in for Zelson at the 79th. Kostoulas again brought in to see the game out. We know what Kostoulas does. We know who Kostoulas is. Uh, and we are well aware of his quality. Very good game once again, just like from absolutely everyone. PAOK next. We are top of the league, 2 points ahead of Ike, 5 points ahead of Panserraikos, and 8 points ahead of PAOK. PAOK, of course, just as I mentioned before, spanked Lamia 7-0. Am I worried? Not necessarily, because of course, again, the game is in the Karaiskakis, but the PAOK game starts just a series of very tough games on and off, with Ike following in the cup. We have Ike in the league as well. The Europa League will start. Uh, then, of course, it's the off game in the regular season to finish off, and then the playoffs start. And I think the safest thing to say is that everyone needs to perform at the absolute top of their game. And if everyone does that, we'll definitely get all our goals more than completed. That's about it from me for today. I know it was a weird time to stream uh, after such uh, bad mentality-wise loss to Panathinaikos, but I hope I kept you all some good company, whether you're listening to this now or after. And the last thing I want to say is a huge, huge congratulations to the women's basketball team for winning the Greek Cup and absolutely dominating in the league. Because, as I said, and I'll close off with this, Olympiacos means trophies. And together as one, no matter what sport we're talking about, Olympiacos is gunning for everything this year. Fans and team need to stay together. And as a last favor, as I ask many times, please don't fall into the toxicity fountain that just gets created every time a loss happens, for example, in basketball. Let's stay together because this year won't just be historic for our 100-year anniversary. It will be historic for all that we will win. Ούτως ή άλλως μιλάμε για τον μεγαλύτερο πολυαθλητικό σύλλογο στον κόσμο. Thank you all so much. Do go check out everything in the description. Leave a comment with any opinion or anything you have. Feel free to message me on Twitter or on Insta. And I'll see you all very, very soon for the next one. Big things coming. Thank you.